So it is interesting to know that in the game today that Manchester United won against Nottingham Forest, it has been confirmed that Michael Carrick has won more games at Old Trafford compared to what his predecessor had won in person of Ruben Amorim. So Michael has won more games than Amorim in the Old Trafford. He has created that feel-good feeling to the Manchester United fans and the players. In fact, we will be talking about some of the happenings, the talking points, and players who have improved very well in Michael Carrick's team. We'll be looking at some of the players. It's important to note that Michael Carrick inherited this team from Ruben Amorim, who was known for his three-man defense line. And then in that formation, Bruno Fernandes was playing as a number 6 in a number 6 role. He was dropped into the middle of the midfield. And then in his time, Manchester United struggled a lot to win games. In fact, they lack stability and compactability in their defense line. But that has really improved since the arrival of Manchester United, of Michael Carrick in Manchester United. This does not mean that Michael Carrick, the defense line has improved beyond the opponent team not being able to score them. In fact, their defense line is still shaky. And then Michael Carrick's team, they have been conceding a couple of goals. But the good thing about Michael Carrick's team is that when you score them a goal, you will expect a quick response on a very good day from Michael Carrick's team. Just like in the game today, when Nottingham Forest equalized the match and it was a 1-1 match, a 1-1, it was not quite long ago before that game or that match was equalized and Manchester United regained the lead. Kudos to the 2-1 or the goal that was scored by Kuna. Now, it is also important to note that Luke Shaw is one of those players that have played more minutes for Manchester United this season. He has played a total of 3,059 minutes for Manchester United this season. That is about 36 Premier League appearances altogether in this season for Manchester United. And in today's match, he was able to score a goal. In fact, he performed so well that he had a goal in that game. That goal he scored became his fifth Premier League goal for Manchester United, and that was his first in the competition since January 2023. Now, Luke Shaw was very good in that game. Luke Shaw reminded me of his time in Southampton, and then when he first arrived in Manchester United, he was a defender that arrived with so much expectations. In fact, people were looking at Luke Shaw becoming the next Marcelo in the English Premier League. They even nicknamed him Beto. I remember those times. The Manchester United fans nicknamed him, gave him that Brazilian nickname because of how good Luke Shaw was in his time in Southampton. And when he was signed, he was a very promising defender. He was so good offensively and defensively. But with a couple of injuries here and there, it really affected his game. But kudos to him. This season, he was able to give Manchester United 36 appearances altogether. Whenever you see a formation where Casemiro is in the middle of a midfield for Manchester United, you expect that game to be a stable one for Manchester United. But today there was much more stability, balance in the midfield for Manchester United. That really gave Bruno Fernandes the opportunity to move forward and then create some chances. Now, it's also important to note that Michael Carrick has gained 33 points in his 15 games so far for Manchester United. Lomans also made a good couple of saves against Gibbs White. Attempt in the first 21st minute, he made a save. His save helped Manchester United not to allow Nottingham Forest to be ahead of them in that match. But a player we really want to look at is a player in person of Mbeumo. Mbeumo has become a shadow of himself for Manchester United. In fact, over the time since the arrival of Michael Carrick, I think he has lost abilities that he used to have before now. Mbeumo used to be very clinical in front of the goal. In a couple of matches that he had played under Michael Carrick, we could recall how clinical he was against Arsenal and a few couple of games. But I think he has been struggling in front of goal. And then it was very good that he was able to later on in the game was able to score. Meanwhile, he had some clear chances that Bruno assisted him with. So I was even thinking that maybe Mbeumo is nurturing some kind of beef against his captain. Remember that game that Bruno Fernandes actually ignored him and gave a pass away to Sesko, resulting in Sesko scoring a goal. And then, although Bruno had apologized, I just want to believe that the relationship between Mbeumo and Bruno Fernandes is on a very positive side and on a good side. But Mbeumo, on the whole, so far, has become a shadow of himself. His goal today has ended him a 12-game drought without a goal. And then, in fact, Manchester United has another interesting record that they have never lost a game that they are ahead of the opposing team in the first half when they had taken the lead. They have never lost. So that record is still standing way back to 1984 when they are leading in the halftime. That is over a 400 Premier League win for them when they are leading before halftime. In fact, another player that was so dangerous today was Diego Dalot. His two crosses resulted in the goal for Manchester United. He was very dangerous with his crosses today. Kudos to Diego Dalot. And then Bruno Fernandes equally was also able to to equal the 20 assists in a single season. So, although alphabetically Bruno Fernandes tops the log because of his name, he's now on the same point with the same number of assists with Thierry Henry and Kevin De Bruyne. But will he be able to break that record and set his name with one game remaining for the season for Manchester United? Away match against Brighton Football Club. You know, Brighton on a very good day usually prove to be a very hard opponent for Manchester United. But will Bruno Fernandes be able to create an assist in that game? Seeing that Bruno would have been able to break that record today, but some of the players he is playing with are not so clinical. On the other hand, those were some of the players that were so impressive in that Manchester United side. But also for Nottingham Forest, Anderson is one of those good midfielders you will not want to discredit for his work that he did in today's game. It was very impressive for me. In fact, the two goals that Nottingham Forest scored, he assisted them both with those beautiful crosses. I came to see why his name is being called as a possible signing to replace Casemiro in Manchester United. Anderson and Gibbs White were the outstanding player for Nottingham Forest in today's game. It is important to also note that Casemiro received his farewell greetings from the Manchester United fans, having scored a total of 26 goals and had appeared for the club in 106 appearances for Manchester United. During that time, he has been able to win the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup. So those are some of the key players. And then that were so impressive in today's game for Manchester United. Now, the Manchester United players and their fans are in high expectation that Bruno Fernandes should be able to break the record, perhaps with just one assist, and set his name for the all-time assist in a single season. And then a talking point in that match today was the goal that Kun scored. That goal came off the arms of Mbuemo, but the officials agreed with the on-field referee's decision that that foul was not an intentional one. And then if you consider the new footballing rules that has been said that when the ball touches a player in any part of the body before it gets to the arm, that it is not a foul. I think that ball, before it ended up in Buemo's arms, had touched some of his body parts, touch his body part first. So if you want to consider the new football rule, you will most likely see that that was not a penalty. And then it was also mentioned that because it was not Mbuemo that actually scored the goal, that was another reason that goal was not disallowed. But that was another talking point for in the game earlier today. But massive congratulations to Manchester United and their players and Michael Carrick in what he has been able to achieve. In fact, Michael Carrick has brought back the feel-good feeling in Manchester United. They are not playing the best of the best football, but you can see the attacking prowess in his team. It reminds me of when Manchester United was under the leadership of Alex Ferguson. During his time, he had those players who were so fast in terms of space. They had a lot of speed, and then they were creative enough, and they were good quality players. Manchester United in their glory days were known for attacking football, and that is what Michael Carrick has been able to brought back for me personally. In fact, he has been able to bring back that attacking-minded game. He has been able to allow the players to feel free and enjoy themselves when they are playing. But will he be able to continue to give the Manchester United fans this feel-good feeling, having just agreed a 2-year permanent deal with the Manchester United owners? In the few weeks, we have just heard the news that he has agreed a 2 years contract subjected to a 1-year renewal depending on how he would be performing next season. Will he be able to continue to give the Manchester United fan that feel-good feeling? Because one thing the Manchester United fans would be expecting from Michael Carrick is, no matter how your style of play is, just be able to win matches for them. That is just what Manchester United are asking from Michael Carrick. They just need Michael Carrick and the players to be winning their games. With the transfer market looming around, and the Manchester United board will be looking forward to backing Michael Carrick, because some of the players will be leaving, and Michael Carrick will be expecting new signings. Will he be able to turn around the depleting mood in the Old Trafford and then restore back the glory days in his era? Much is expected and much will be unfolding come next season. If you've watched my video to this point, please do well to subscribe and like, and tell us what you think about Michael Carrick's appointment. Will he succeed in his role as the head coach of Manchester United come next season? And tell us more what you think about the game that was played today. Thank you.